Welcome. Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Johnny, and I am the Executive Director for the Pete DuPont Freedom Foundation. On this call with me is Lindsay Pennington, the Program Manager for the Pete DuPont Freedom Foundation. And Lindsay included her information. She has a little bit of technical difficulties with internet, but she's live on chat. And I know Lindsay just inserted her information in the chat box as well. For those just joining us, please use the chat box to let us know who you are, where you're coming from, and how you heard about E3. And the purpose of today is to review the application overview for the upcoming Kent County application cycle for the equitable entrepreneurial ecosystem. So for those who don't know what E3 is, E3 was launched in March of 2020, initially as a response to COVID. It was created to help entrepreneurs accelerate their businesses by providing opportunities for success through customized support plans. E3 provides a process where experienced advisors and service providers can create a clear, supportive, and sustainable pathway to success that includes a comprehensive wrap-around support structure for the entrepreneur. So that was a bit of a mouthful. So what that means is E3 essentially works in a collaborative environment where different consultants and different industry experts will work with the entrepreneur, meet them wherever they are in their entrepreneurial journey, and help them reach their specific goals. So today, we're going to talk a little bit more about what E3 is, speak a little bit about E3 success stories, how the Pete DuPont Freedom Foundation is investing in our community, review the E3 application and answer any questions any of you may have, and then review a little bit about what E3 membership is all about, and then talk about next steps. So I want this to be as interactive as possible. So please utilize the chat box, there's a Q&A function. You can add your questions in there. You can, just put your question in the chat. There's also a raise hand function. If you want to be on camera and you're comfortable asking your question on camera, we'll invite you to join us there. Just raise your hand and I can let you in as a panelist and we can further the discussion there. This webinar today is being recorded and it's going to be available on our website. So if there's any part of it that you need to go back in and refresh, maybe you kind of forgot what we talked about here, or you want to get a little bit more information, you can absolutely go back to look at this recording, or you can contact Lindsay or myself. Our information is going to be on this slideshow at the very end, but we'll also include it in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We're here to help you. So a little bit of what I talked about initially was what E3 is and why it was created. Again, just to touch a little bit more about some of the things that's included in this comprehensive wraparound support structure that we offer. That doesn't mean that we provide all the services, but what we do is we serve as navigators to help connect you with the correct resources that you need wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey so that you can help grow your business. And for some people, growing their business means franchising their business or, moving into another county. For others, growing their business means hiring additional staff. For others, it's just increasing their annual revenue, or it could be all of the above for you. We work with you one-on-one to identify what your goals are, identify what the barriers and challenges are that you're facing to allow you to kind of take a step back to view your business holistically, and then figure out a prioritized step-by-step action plan to help you navigate through success. So what is the ecosystem? I mentioned earlier that E3 was founded in March of 2020. We are very young. In 2020, thanks to our anchor funder, Barclays Bank, and in partnership with the Wilmington Alliance, we launched our first pilot in the city of Wilmington, working with 3 businesses, and that is Nerd It Now, Specsciton Biosciences, and Pele Designs. We then launched a second pilot in Dover, Delaware, working with First Statehood Induct and before and after life coaching. Through those pilots, we refined our process, refined how we work with entrepreneurs. We listened to the entrepreneurs we were working with, and we really, we made changes. That's the bottom line. We made changes and developed a process that is efficient, that is time efficient for the entrepreneurs, efficient for us, but just making sure that we're doing things purposefully and so that it's truly beneficial for the individuals that we're working with. Since then, in 2021, we did launch a open application cohort cycle in Newcastle County, working with 7 businesses, as you can see on the screen. And then we held a second open application cycle for Kent and Sussex County businesses. And we brought 6 on there. For 2022, we've already went running with a Newcastle County cohort, bringing on 10 additional businesses. And then our plans for Southern Delaware in 2022 are to hold 2 separate application cycles for Kent County and Sussex County. So we've completely separated Kent and Sussex. And what we're here to talk about now is the Kent County application cycle. If there are any Sussex County based businesses on this call, we are holding the Sussex County application cycle this July. So dates are to be announced very, very soon. And then as part of E3, one of the things that we have is a learning collaborative. We host monthly webinars that touch on anything from finances to legal needs for small businesses, marketing, self-branding, cybersecurity, you name it. At the start of the year, something that we do is we reach out to all of our members and all of our entrepreneurs and we ask, what is it that you need help with? What is it that you want to learn more about? And that's how we develop our calendar, our e-learning calendar. We also hold something called an entrepreneurial championship series where we highlight a entrepreneurial champion who is a mentor and their mentee. Some of the previous sessions include Paul McConnell and Mac McLeod, who is the CEO of Carbitize. We've also held a session with Thayer DuPont and Marquivas Gideon of Nerd It Now, Chris Buccini and Ivan Thomas of DETV, just to name a few. And all of these webinar recordings are available on our YouTube page and our website. So I'll throw the link in the chat where we can take a look at some of the previous resources as well. And then something that's brand new that we launched, well, 2 things that are brand new that we launched this year are a peer e-group led by PMG Consulting, Peggy Geisler. So as part of being part of this ecosystem, we invite you to this collaborative space. It's a monthly webinar, more of just a Zoom meeting. So you see everybody on the call and it's with Peggy Geisler and Lindsay Pennington, our program manager. And it's basically a space for you to interact with other E3 members, talk a little bit about what you're going through with your business right now, talk about any hurdles that we could potentially help you with, and allow us the opportunity to help identify any resources that could be beneficial for you. It's a drop-in, drop-out type of group where we give you a calendar invite and you have a link. You'll need to register just so we're prepared and we know who's going to be showing up on the call for that month. But you drop in whenever you need to. If you need some strategic advice or just some consulting or whatever the case may be, you drop in that month. If you don't need anything, it's not a requirement for you to attend, but it is a complimentary resource as being part of this ecosystem. And then there's membership. We're restricted based on funding and a little bit of capacity as to who we can invite in to join our cohorts. And a big part of that is quality of services. It's more of a quality game versus a numbers game for us. So we want to really make sure that the businesses we invite in, we can really help and spend the time that's needed to help that business grow. So what we've launched is the E3 membership model. And then there's a slide that talks a little bit about what membership looks like. It's also available on our website. We'll throw the link in the chat. But it's a way for you to kind of still benefit from a lot of the resources that we provide through E3 without being part of the cohort. And a lot of times what it'll also do is help prepare you for that next application cycle if you are more of a conceptual business. So do we have any questions so far before I move on? All right. So investing and growing our entrepreneurs statewide, these numbers are actually incorrect. We've invested way more than that. I think we're up at the $300,000 plus mark in investments from March 2020 to date. And that's what working with, I believe we're working with about 36 businesses now. So as I mentioned before, it's more of a quality game for us, not a game, but a quality kind of atmosphere for us versus numbers through, and it's a 2-phase process that E3 is about. So phase 1 is something called scoping. And that process alone is valued at up to $5,000 per entrepreneur. So through scoping, we match you with a consultant. We are going to be working with IA Business Advisors, which is a wonderful consultant that is based out of Illinois, but in today's Zoom world, there's been no issues there. Through this process, what they allow you to do is really take a look at your business as a whole, identify your challenges, identify the paths to success, the opportunities for success, and really allow you to take a step outside of the puzzle to kind of take a look at the puzzle as a whole picture, as a whole frame. Every entrepreneur and small business that participates in phase 1, the scoping phase, walks away with a comprehensive report that highlights all of the items that I just mentioned about your business. And then it includes a prioritized action plan that's literally color coded to help you navigate. A lot of times when entrepreneurs come to us, you guys come to us with a long list of needs. There's a lot of things that you have to get done, but the big question is in what order? And that can make or break a small business, whether you are conceptual and just starting out, or maybe you've been providing services for 10 plus years and, you don't know where to go next, or you're trying to kind of jump over that next hurdle. There's a way to do things. And so one of the biggest value adds that we offer is guided decision-making from people who have done it before, people who've already blown through hundreds of thousands of dollars, perhaps in their 20s or whatever the case may be, launching a business and learning from it. They're able to offer that guidance to you, as well as industry professionals who do this every single day. So once phase 1 is completed, we go into phase 2, which is service implementation. And at that point, we take these action plans and these reports that you get through phase 1, and we're able to put into action. We're able to pull from it and take a look at, okay, what do you need to get done first, second, third? And we provide an in-kind grant to allow you to get that done. We are working with over 25 different consultants from various industries, from legal to finance to marketing to space planning and design, you name it, that we would make recommendations. At the end of the day, you have the opportunity, you as the entrepreneur have the opportunity to select who you'd like to be matched with and who you'd like to work with for the duration of your time in this phase. And each entrepreneur will be eligible to an additional in-kind grant of up to $10,000. So before I move on to the application, do we have any questions at all? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So the application, I would recommend that you allot 30 to 60 minutes. For some of you who have businesses that maybe you've been around for a few years, I think it'll take you a lot. It'll be a lot quicker for you to complete. It's pretty straightforward and intuitive. For some startups or conceptual businesses who may not be bringing in a revenue just yet, it may take you a little longer. I would advise to not look at this as an intimidating process. We're asking these questions to get to know you. And it's really for us, for our review team, to kind of understand you on paper a bit more. So Lindsay did include the application link. The application is not live, so please do not use that. But we'll look at the application a little bit further. The application does not go live until June 13th. It is live right now for the sake of this webinar, but it's going to go down very soon. So if you click on that link and see something and then it's no longer there, that is the reason why. There is a save and continue option, so you can save your work and then continue to work on it a bit later. You can review the questions ahead of time. There's an opportunity for you to download the questions in a PDF, throw them into a Word doc. That's what I always recommend, and type up your answers later, and then input your answers later. And what you just want to make sure is that you submit before the due date. You want to make sure you start your application before the due date and that you submit before the due date time. There are 4 major sections within the application, and that's business overview, leadership and team overview, impact, and then we collect demographics. We collect demographics because we have funders. Barclays is our largest E3 supporter and funder, and we need to report back to our funders. So the demographics are just solely for bringing, just for collecting data. We do have an emphasis on supporting Black and Brown entrepreneurs, but we're not exclusive to that. So don't think that the demographics are going to hurt or help in any situation. So let's get into the application. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment just so I can get my screen ready. All right. So when it is time to use that link, and everybody who's on this call today is going to get an email reminder that says, hey, it's time to apply, and it'll have that link in there. So that link is going to take you to a page that looks like this. You are going to want to create a new account. Even if this portal looks familiar, which it may for some of you, there are a lot of other organizations that utilize this platform, you're going to want to create a brand new account. When you hit create new account, it's going to take you to these questions. I started filling this out, but it didn't work. I wanted to call attention to this section because we ask for organization information. If you are a nonprofit, we do ask for your tax ID. If you're not a nonprofit, you can just hit or type in NA. Anything with an asterisk is required. When you go into user information, it's asking for information about you. If you are not the business owner or the founder of this business, it asks that question. Unfortunately, I can't get to it because I didn't fill this out yet, but it asks if you're the business owner. It's okay if you're not. If you're filling this out on behalf of your business owner, we ask that you just include your business owner information here in this section if applicable. If you are a co-founder or a co-owner, include your co-founder. You can hit yes in business owner question, but please include your co-founder or your co-owner business information in this section. Then it's going to ask you to complete a password, save your or create a password, save your password and save this link, because that's what you're going to use to for the duration of your time in E3. You can use it to check on your application. You can use it to make changes to your application up until the deadline. If we have questions for you regarding your application, we can add it to your applications for you to see exactly where it is. We'll send you an email so you know that it's there, but you'll want to be able to go and do this. If you forget your password, there is an option to say forget your password and log back in. So it's not the end of the world if you can't find it, but just, keep yourself organized. That'll just make everything better. So then once you log in, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. It has the application submission window. It has just a little bit about E3 and what we want you to do. Right now, the application is not open because it does not go live until Monday, June 13th at 9 a.m. But what you can do in the meantime is preview this form. Why I don't want you to preview it now is because we are making very minimal changes to the layout of the application. So I don't want you to grab this form, copy the questions, and then you go back to submit, and then some of those questions may have changed or some of the definitions may have changed. So don't look at it yet, but you have 2 weeks to complete it. The deadline is June 27th at 11:59 p.m. June 27th, 11:59 p.m. So do not forget that. So you'll have plenty of time to grab the question list and review the application. But like I said, don't do it yet because we are making changes up until tomorrow. But you'll see the sections here. So I won't scroll too fast. The business information, just general collection of information. This is going to look a little different when you come back on Monday. We ask about you and your team. We ask for a brief, introduction to yourself, elevator pitches. Real people are reading this. So just keep that in mind. Real people are reading this. So you want to keep things short to the point, because we don't know how many applicants we're going to get. And so you don't want, if you're applicant number 25, just understand that there's real people reading this. So no need to use jargon, keep it layman's terms, think 30-second elevator pitch. There are options for you to upload files throughout the application. If there is a question that you don't understand, or you just, you don't have an answer to, write that in there. It's okay to put that in there. If you just have questions and you don't feel comfortable writing that in there, you can contact myself or Lindsay and we'll be able to help you. There's a section in here that talks about social, environmental, and workforce impact. Again, if it doesn't apply to you, you can hit an A. It's okay. This cohort is made up of businesses, again, that are conceptual, just starting out. Maybe you have no revenue coming in, to accelerated. Maybe you're at the point where you're bringing in a good revenue, you want to expand your team, you want to branch out, whatever the case may be, and you're looking for seed funding or whatever the case may be. We meet you where you are. So don't be afraid to be transparent. That'll help us understand how to rate you. So if you are a conceptual business, don't mark yourself as emerging if you're not, because then we're going to use a different rubric and a different rating scale to rate you that may not be appropriate to where you actually are. So be transparent. And if you have a question, ask. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we collect demographic information. So we do ask for your ethnicity, your gender, your date of birth. Again, this is for our funders, and this is just for our data collection to showcase the impact. It's not going to influence whether or not you get accepted into the cohort. And then just general acknowledgement that you acknowledge P2P Freedom Foundation, E3, all the information is correct, all of the above. This is something that you do have to agree to in order to move on. If you don't, give us a call and talk through to us why. Maybe there's a part that a sentence that you're not comfortable with. Let us know and we can work through it. I'm just going to emphasize there's real people reading this, and we are real people, Lindsay and I, so we want to be able to help you. There's also an option in this little area right here for you to download a PDF version of the questions, where you can print it out, save it, whatever you'd like to do. Again, do not do this until June 13th when this is ready, because right now, this is not going to look the same. Do we have any questions at all? All right. So I'm going to share my screen again and move on. So what I mentioned earlier, and this is just a very brief, if you, for whatever reason, do not get accepted into the cohort, there are very affordable membership options. I won't get into it too much right now because I'm just going to put it into the universe that you guys will all get accepted. I say that and then I'm smiling because we can't accept you all, but we want to be able to support you all as we can. I don't see your faces, so I don't know who's here just yet. But we have membership options that start at just $100 a year. These are annual payments or annual investments for your business that go up to $500. It includes everything that you would get through the cohort without being in the cohort. So we can absolutely talk to you more about that when that time comes. But if you have any questions now, Lindsay and I are here and we're happy to answer them. All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and keep moving. Oh, we have a raised hand. Let's see. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Um, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. And the question I had, and my apologies if you already answered it and I missed it, but do we need to apply for the cohort separately from the E3 application? Or if we submit the E3 application, is that automatically an application to enter the cohort as well?
Yes. So the application is to enter the cohort.
Okay.
Yes. So that, yep, that's exactly right. So that's to get into that. So my apologies if it was a little confusing with the membership part. But that's to get into the cohort. So that will automatically. So if you are so number one, let me go back. Anyone who submits an application correctly, and I say that because we've had some incomplete applications or individuals who've started their applications and didn't hit submit. And by the way, if you did not hit submit and you're struggling or something's happening, reach out to Lindsay or myself. We can go in and we can help you. But so anyone who submits an application, regardless if you're accepted or not, is going to get a call or an email, some sort of correspondence from Lindsay or myself. That it'll either be congratulations, you've been accepted and these are the next steps, or it'll be, look, you weren't accepted, but these are the reasons why, and this is the feedback that we've obtained from our committee. So who rates this application? So first of all, let me take another step back. So first thing you want to do is submit your application. You can do so beginning June 13th at 9 a.m. The deadline is June 27th, 11:59 p.m. Remember, you can save and continue. Just make sure you hit submit. If you have issues, reach out to Lindsay or myself. Next is applicant review. So who reviews this application? That includes P2 Freedom Foundation staff, Lindsay and myself, and our Kent County Regional Council. So what we do is we bring together other partners, others in the industry, others within the entrepreneurial landscape to the table. We have representation from the United Way of Delaware, from PMG Consulting. We have representation from the SBA, SBDC, Greater Kent County Committee, as well as a few others. We bring all of these individuals who are stakeholders and partners within the landscape specific to Kent County so that they are able to review your business, offer feedback, offer suggestions. Maybe you're not ready for E3 just yet, but maybe you'd be a great candidate for another program that's being offered by one of our partners. That's some of the feedback that we give back to you. So that's part of, we're at a place right now where we can give those quality of services. And so that's our biggest, we hold that true to our heart. So that's something that we make sure that we do. So you'll get the notification and feedback. Like I mentioned, every applicant's going to receive a response. Give us about 4 weeks. All of the individuals that I mentioned, it's sometimes difficult to get everybody in the room or at the table. So give us about 4 weeks from submitting your application to get all of this done. But you will hear from us. If you have not heard from us for whatever reason, reach out, whether directly through email or our website, you can absolutely reach out. So let's say you get the call that, or the email, congratulations, you've been accepted into the cohort. What I want to do, obviously manifest it that you're going to get accepted, but we've already scheduled the kickoff meeting. So what we did for the first time this year for our Newcastle County cohort was we held our kickoff meeting in person. And it was amazing because what we did was we brought all of the members of the cohort together. Businesses got to interact with each other, collaborate with each other. You got to meet Lindsay and myself in person and other members of the P2 Freedom Foundation team, including the consultant that you're going to be working with for phase 1. So the kickoff meeting is going to be held in Dover on July 27th. I believe we are aiming for a 3 to 4 p.m. meeting. So please save the date. Location is to be announced. We haven't figured that part out just yet, but we are working on it. So, but you'll know about this well ahead in advance, looking at the timeline. So at the kickoff meeting, you'll meet the team. You'll understand what kind of the next steps are. And phase 1 is typically about a 5 to 6 week process. It can be shorter for some, it can be a little bit longer for some. It all depends on your schedule. It is the summertime and people have vacations planned and kids are home, whatever the case may be. We work with you. So we're flexible. So for some people, they get wrapped up pretty quickly. Some people take a little bit longer. That's okay. We're flexible. And then, phase 2 happens. So once phase 1 is completed, and we talk about that, what that looks like at the kickoff meeting. If you are invited to enter phase 2, and I say invited because for a couple of reasons. Sometimes after phase 1, we have entrepreneurs who say, okay, I think I need to pivot, or I'm not ready to really grow like I thought I was, or I need to wait, or I'm going to have a baby. Let me hold off a little bit, whatever the case may be. There's some people who are like, yes, I'm ready to go. Some people who have to take a bit of a pause. So that's why, so it's not always the case that everybody in phase 1 automatically goes into phase 2. We have to make sure that you're ready for more investment, that you have the capacity and the passion to want to take this in-kind donation that we're going to invest in you, and then, run with it with our guidance and our support and our help. So through phase 2, that's when each of you will be eligible for an up to $10,000 in initial grant money to work with a consultant. So if your phase 1 report comes back and says, you need to get your finances in order, you need an accountant, you need to get, operationally, you need a pricing matrix, whatever the case may be, or perhaps you need agreements that need to be put in place for your clients, or maybe you need to update your marketing. Maybe you need legal support because you need to take a look at regulatory requirements, whatever the case may be. And I say all these different things because we've worked with companies from various industries that require different things. That's where we talk about that together. What are things that you and your team, or if it's just you, what are things that you can handle and what are things that you need our assistance with? That's how we determine which consultants or consultant, it could be more than one, that could potentially work with you. We make our recommendations, but ultimately you work with who you want to work with. We do have pre-vetted consultants that we recommend. We have about 25 of them, so there is a good variety to choose from. But let's say there's a service provider or a consultant that you've been eyeing, or that maybe you've previously worked with, or you want to work with, but you can't afford, whatever the case may be. You can bring them to the table. Several of our consultants were discovered just like through our entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs have reached out and said, I want to work with this company. Can you vet? Is that an option? We vet them because we do have a process that we go through for each of our service providers and consultants, just to make sure that they're providing the best standards of service that match up with us, and that they understand what we're doing, that we're paying them. You're not paying them. We're paying for these services for you. So we go through that vetting process, and you absolutely have the option to work with who you want to work with. So I always recommend start thinking about that now. Maybe it's a consultant that's specific to your industry. Maybe it's a consultant that's outside of Delaware. We are in a virtual world these days, so the sky's the limit there. Do we have any other questions? I know I've covered a lot. Okay. So that's all I had for you guys today. Our information is up on this slide. I've also included our E3 support, our design partners, our PMG Consulting. They work with us pretty closely, Christy Hanley and Peggy Geisler. Peggy is the individual that I mentioned who spearheads that monthly e-group. So that's somebody that you can look up and see as someone who could be potentially working with you as well. Any questions at all? Or Lindsay, anything to add? All right, well, Lindsay wrote in the chat, I hope to meet all of you. For those, if anybody's not looking at the chat, Lindsay also dropped in our email addresses and a couple links. As I mentioned, we're going to send everybody who's on this call today an email reminder of when you can apply with the link, and it'll have all our contact information on there. This is being recorded, so I will throw this recording up on our YouTube page, and it's also going to be available on the main page of our website. So I'll just, since we have a few minutes, I'm just going to take you to our website. If you haven't been there, it's p2pontfreedomfoundation.org. So right now it just has the application date reminders, and the application overview is actually going to take you to this registration link for today. That's going to be subbed out by this afternoon with the video recording. And right now you can see about E3. Starting Monday, it's going to say apply. You can access the application directly through that button, and then I'll include the link to the webinar right over here. And to learn more about E3 in the midst of that, in the meantime, you would go to initiatives, the equitable entrepreneurial ecosystem. You can read about why E3 was put together, how it works from the online application to initial scoping to final selection. And then you can learn a little bit more about phase 2 service implementation, and take a look at some of the businesses that we're currently working with. You can learn more about them there, or you can even take a look, click on view our businesses and entrepreneurs, and it'll give you a listing of all the businesses we work with that are based on industry. So you can take a look at the variety. I'm scrolling kind of fast, so I apologize, but please go ahead and take a look, and you can read about everybody. All right, before we let you go for the afternoon, any other questions at all? Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to learning more about your business and learning about you. Beginning Monday, June 13th, 9 a.m. And remember, again, I'm just going to emphasize it because we had a few people miss the deadline last time. June 27th, Monday, June 27th is the deadline, 11:59.